It's a Monday, and today we are here to do a live stream. And you know what? I'm using different software, so I'm checking different things. But it's amazing. This is going to be a great live stream. So I want to go ahead and get into it because I'm really excited about the topic that we're talking about today. So, if you clicked on this video, you saw that the thumbnail had um, two Black women, and it's the same Black woman, and one side said rest and the other side said hustle, and it's rest versus hustle. So, I'm imagining if you clicked on this live, you're probably like me, and you are someone who is high achieving. Who likes to get ish done, but also feels like no matter how much progress you make, you never seem to be finished. Like, never. Like, it's never enough. And I am on that journey too. As I built my dreams, as I built my business, as I built my tiny house, all of these things that I love, and also trying to balance all of those goals and aspirations that I'm trying to create while also living my soft life. This tension between wanting to do more as quickly as possible while also trying to make space for the life that I want to live right now, not putting my life on hold for when I finally arrive. Like, we should be living our life while we're on the journey. So, if you understand that, if that's your vibe, you get what I'm talking about, then this live stream is for you. I'm excited for us to have this conversation today. Excited for us to talk through it. So, if you are new to me, welcome. If you're catching this in the future, welcome to the if you're catching on the replay, I'm excited that you're taking a second to watch this. I am Rashidat, your dream strategist, and I am a lifestyle coach for Black women. I help us learn to work less and live more because we are so much more than our job titles, you know? So by using vision and life skills, I help us take practical action to create the soft life that we want. And it's a beautiful thing that I have been learning and really, I don't, and continue to practice and streamline and refine and make as beautiful as possible. But it has allowed me to live right now, be living some of my dreams that I had 10 years ago. And I want to help you be able to do that too. So this live stream is going to give you some of the context and some of those practical steps to help you take that action. So today I want to talk about this whole idea of working harder to get ahead, how all of that is a scam. I want to talk about that. Then I also want to talk about the results we actually get when we keep working harder and harder and harder. And then I want to give us three actionable steps that I've been taking to create and maintain this balanced lifestyle that, don't get me wrong, it's a fight for it, but it's a different kind of fight that I had before. Before, the fight was me feeling like I had to do more, like I had to show up, like this was how I showed my worth, and there was no other way out but to work myself to death. And I'm going to show you how this fight is different and much better and much freer and actually empowers this soft life that I've always wanted. I need to switch this so that I could see the other screen in case you guys comment or anything like that. So let me make an adjustment real quick. Again, this is a little new from what I usually do on my live streams on Fridays. Not just doing a live stream, but I'm using a different software and I like it. I'm just figuring it out as I go today. So, okay, I think I got it. All right. So that being said, let's jump in. Rest is is a reward for productivity. Have you ever heard that? Or you can rest when you've reached all your goals, or you can rest when you're dead. Listen, 24 success means grinding 24/7. Who says these things? Like, these are the people who don't want a life. These are the people who believe that work is really the only way to get anything done. And it puts us on this perpetual hamster wheel, this perpetual cycle of working and working and working. I used to describe it as a feeling like, um, I would be as if I'm in the water, if I'm trying to swim, and instead of swimming, I'm just treading water. And when you tread water, it's hard. Like you're doing this constant movement. You never get to stop. You just got to keep moving, keep moving. You're under the water, your feet are pedaling above the water, your arms are moving. And even though you're not moving forward in any way, shape, or form, you're doing a hell of a lot of work. And that was how this idea of working harder to finally get ahead felt for me. I was treading water and I was not actually moving forward. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I am so tired of treading water. I'm ready to swim. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to actually see a new wave of water. Look, a new surrounding. And that was really huge for me because it meant that I had to do something different. I think at some point, treading water felt comfortable. It felt normal. It felt like what I'd always done. So I had gotten used to it. That was just what I did. I got in the water and I tread water. But now I'm learning to swim forward towards this soft life. And again, like I said, that means that we have to change something. So I know that is a whole analogy, and I'm going to get into the practical steps of what that actually has looked like for me. But I really wanted to share why this idea of working harder is complete absolute BS. And I want you to look at it from this context. We've been told that work plus work equals freedom, but instead, work plus work actually just equals more work. And because you never finally get ahead and far enough to actually get to the freedom that we say that we want. So that was why I had to change it because I couldn't I couldn't keep believing that lie. I couldn't keep believing that scam. And so things had to change. So while I used to believe that, I had these feelings of feeling like I was everlastingly, like no matter what I did, continuously exhausted. Is that you? Like I'm so exhausted that I get to the point of being unmotivated. When people talk about like scrolling on TikTok, on scrolling on Instagram, when they know they should be doing something. I think that's our body, that's our mind trying to say, hey, hey, you're mentally tired. This is not a time where you need to bully yourself to do more. That means that you've not been creating enough time for rest. Um, and I think we as Black women, the conversation, especially with amazing women like Trisha Hershey and the Nat Ministry, we are starting to see that. We're starting to have more conversation about that. But one of the other things that I know I was feeling as I was in this endless, perpetual treading water was that I kept losing touch with my joy and purpose. It was so easy for me to slide into angry, which perpetuates the whole angry Black woman. Like, have we ever stopped to realize that maybe the angry Black woman is not angry just for the sake of being angry? Like, she is tired. It's an emotional response to feeling like there's no space for her to ever stop, for me to ever stop. And I was like, I don't want to be angry all the time. So I got to change the things that are making me angry. Another thing was I would feel guilty when I took a break. And I had to work on that in my own mind because from the outside, again, with hustle culture, we've been told, you know what? If you take a break, you're lazy. If you take a break, you don't want this promotion. If you're not working longer hours, if you're not going hard and harder, if you're not asking if you're not asking people to do more work, if you're not staying late, then you don't actually want this. You're not showing up. And that is a bold faced lie. That is people using us, taking advantage of us. And I'm like, again, once I started realizing these things and taking a step back, I had to say, if that's what it takes to get this promotion, to get this whatever, then I don't think I actually want it. I think I'd rather have the rest now, because all it does is set me up that when you finally get me in that place, you're just going to add more and more and more. You're just going to continue to take advantage. And I don't want to be setting myself up for that. So I'm going to pause for a second. I would imagine I'm not the only person that's felt those things. And so I'm looking for my chat right now. And remember, I am new to this system. So forgive me if you've said something in the chat and I've missed it, because I don't know how to see all the things yet. But that's okay. You know what? Hopefully, hopefully I'm not missing you. Oh, I can see you now. There you go. Good morning. Hey, Leslin. Of course, life is living. They keep They could keep all of that. I like working on my stuff. I know that's right. But rest is also my stuff. Agreed. Agreed. Good morning, Echoes Whispered. Thank you for joining today. Y'all, thank you for your patience while I try to figure out this new system. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, I can't see anybody's comments and I don't know how to fix it. Oh, is that it? Nope, that wasn't it. That's okay. I'm glad I could see you on my other screen. So I'm using this, Leslin, great question. I'm using a system called Riverside, and I like it. It's just literally the first time I've ever tried it out. Um, so I don't know how to do all the things yet. But I'm very excited. Oh, and I like this. I could mark the clip. So look at that. There's some good things to it. Okay. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. Like I was like, this can't be what life is supposed to be like. This whole idea that working harder and harder is supposed to be the end game and I'm just supposed to deal with it, and yeah, that ain't for me. So that's where so much of this context comes from. So much of everything that I talk about in my business, I was like, y'all, I know, I know this ain't it. And I don't know what is it, but I know I'm gonna figure it out because I don't have space to do anything more but to figure it out, right? Echoes Whisper said, "Of course, I just found your channel, and I'm so glad I did. I'm glad that you did too. I'm glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Yay! I love it. I love when we find new people and we all get to connect. So as I used to think about this whole thing of overworking and how it was pretty much treading water, I decided that I realized hustle culture, the main thing that I hated about hustle culture was that it was being used as a measure of my worth. And I decided that my worth had no place being connected to my work. Because there comes a time when our minds go where something might happen, as if accident, or so many things could happen that our bodies, our minds are no longer capable to be able to do the things that we're doing now or to be able to do the work. So what happens when it happens? Does that mean I'm worthless now? That means that I should be thrown out? Does that mean that they should euthanize me? That I should just be put out of my misery? No, absolutely not. And so, if that's not the case, then my work cannot be connected to my worth. My worth has to come from somewhere else. And so, I went on this exploration. Well, where does my worth come from? As a God fearing woman, a woman that believes in Jesus, I had a long conversation with Jesus, and Jesus said, "Girl, I always had you. Your worth always came from me. Your dignity always came from me. I always saw you as beautiful and fruitful and amazing. And I crafted you with everything that you have in mind." Like that is where our worth and our dignity comes from. Now, if you don't believe in Jesus, maybe you see it as you have found your worth through your own self understanding. But I would go as far to say, maybe it comes from the universe. You tell me. Like, if you're not a God-fearing person, and you all might be a God-fearing, everybody that's here might already be that God-fearing person. So if you're watching on a replay and you don't see your worth coming from God, then I would love to hear where it comes from. just to better understand. But I hope that you recognize, no matter what, that it does not come from the work that you do, and that you're so much more than the work that you do, right? So, oh, I love this. Let me see what the chat's got going on here. Hey, girl. Hey, Yvonne. Yay. Listen, I'm doing a live stream with Yvonne tomorrow. So make sure you join us tomorrow as well. Um, Whoa, sister, such strong language. Look, they do not deserve you. Come on now. They do not deserve us. Exactly. Exactly. So, um, while I'm moving to this next part, I really want to like talk about what it looks like to do something different, because we've already talked about the fact that all of that was putting us in this terrible cycle of just doing more and more and more. Um, and that is really just this whole feeling of being, I'm trying to make sure I put it into words. And there's really no other word that I can say. It's just like endlessly exhausted. And that was the result. That was the whole result of this mindset, that I could work far enough to get ahead, because no matter what I did, I was exhausted. And so there were three things that I had to do: to one, get rid of the exhaustion, but to two, also change my mindset about how I thought about it. And the first one that I had to decide was, if I wanted to do this different, what was going to be the thing that I value? What was my value in it that helped me make my decisions different? And that value that I had to switch was that, instead of believing my value was I could work hard enough to finally get ahead, I had to change my value to actually say rest is non negotiable. That I did better work when I rested. I was my fullest me when I rested. And therefore, because of it being, rest being a core part of me being able to fully be me, that is what made it non-negotiable, and that I needed to make space for it. Rest isn't a luxury, it is actually the fuel. And so I had to start scheduling it into my calendar. And you guys know, anybody that's come to Freedom Fridays, I'm super passionate about that, because it's not just about the job. It's, after a while, at the beginning, we felt the pressure of hustle culture making us feel like we should do more, work harder, and do all of those things. But at some point, we started to internalize the work. We started internalizing that pressure for ourselves. And now it's our core and we believe it. And so we keep bullying ourselves to do more and more and more, to work harder and harder. And so for us to change that, it takes a whole mindset shift, and then it takes a whole behavior shift, because all of those things are connected. And so the mindset shift was believing that rest is non negotiable. But in order for me to have changed my life to live like I actually believe that, meant that I had to start putting it in my calendar. Because otherwise, I kept default. I saw myself defaulting back to doing more, to showing up for more people. Even when I had time in my schedule, I would fill it up with showing up for other people, and I had to switch that. And so that's why I'm so, so passionate about making rest, about scheduling rest as something that we do. Echoes Whisper said, "You will always be better when rested. That's a psychological fact, and they just don't care about us." And it's sad. It's sad that we have to say that. It's sad that it's sad that the people who we work for don't help us honor our boundaries. That we have to have a whole different level of boundaries for them as well. And on the other side of that, that means that they probably don't have good boundaries for themselves. And so we do have to take it into our hands. And you know what else I've come to believe too? In my own in my own journey to create boundaries and to make space for this, I recognize that I am not the only one who's trying to figure out how to balance this life of rest and goals well. And so I when someone else has a hard time honoring my boundaries, when someone else has a hard time having boundaries between rest and goals for themselves, I recognize that they're just not as far along on my journey. And I don't say that as a slight. I say that as grace. And so I'm giving them grace, and instead of internalizing the pain that they are causing by not upholding my boundaries, I say that I'm sad that you have not experienced that yet, but I hope that you do, and I hope that you get some boundaries. And listen, let me put that blessing on you, because otherwise, I don't want to take on the anger that they're ignoring my boundaries as well. Does that make sense? You know, um, Yvonne said, yes, to work on balance all last year. Still haven't perfected it. And I think it's a practice. I think it's similar to like yoga and working out. It's not one thing that we ever completely arrive at, but there we can get to a place where we can maintain it, where we know this is what our basic level of rest should look like. And that's a lot of what I talk about in setting up your realistic schedule, and then using the anti superhero toolkit to take it to the next level. Um, because when you have that understanding of what your regular level of rest, habits, and routines and rhythms should look like, you can maintain them in every season, so that when life changes from being all the way up here and so much going on, you can maintain your rest and routine systems and all of those things up here, but you can also learn how to maintain them when it's in the lower, um, rested, not as busy side either. So I totally get that. It's this practice of us figuring it out as we go. And Leslin said, but it is also important to note that we often move in the shadows of those who went before us. So don't set those boundaries. Let me read that again. But it is also important to note that we often move in the shadows of those who went before us. Exactly. And so don't set those boundaries, right? We don't want those boundaries. Those boundaries weren't working for us. We've got to take them to the next level. And it's an evolution, you know? So as their boundaries didn't work, now we're learning. And I think about this when I think about my mom. I did that interview with Alicia Renice, and she asked, you know, who was the person that I remembered in my life being strong? And I remember my mom. And I remember one of the places that she was endlessly strong in was showing up for work, and showing up for work more than anybody else, whether it was volunteering at church, or even when nobody else would volunteer and it would just be her, staying late at work, all of those things. And I had to say, those boundaries don't work for me. I got to do this different. And I found a different way to do it. So I agree with that. Totally learning from those people before us and how we saw it burnt them out, and actually doing it different going forward. Thank you so much for saying that, Leslie. That took me 2 times to read it, but I got it. Echoes Whispered said, agreed, it is a practice, not a destination, much like healing and mourning. Right, right. Mourning, man, what a good girl. Come on, you better say that. Healing and mourning, because both of them are this ebb and flow thing. And I feel like we talk about healing a lot more, but mourning, it's a whole experience. You don't just even though in some cultures they do the 7 days, you still just don't arrive. There's still times where you see that person, you used to do something with that person and you remember them, and it takes a second to mourn it. And we're not just mourning people, sometimes we're mourning our dreams, or we're mourning relationships. There's so many things, and we have to make space to put up good boundaries for us to be able to process those, rather than defaulting in anger, or defaulting into ignoring our emotions and just stuffing it down. Like, all of this, everything that I love talking about is about making space for us not to have to be a superhero that doesn't have to deal with that tries to ignore all of these things. Like, get to we actually get to be human. We actually get to experience life, and our emotions are so deeply a part of what allow us to experience life fully, right? So yes, rest is a part of that. You don't have space to fully experience life, to fully experience your emotions if you're just bulldozing your way and doing more and more work all the time. So yes, I love that. Thank you for saying that. Oh, so good. Be kind to yourself in the process. We are here with you. Yes. And we're continuing to practice it. And not only that, like every day is different. Some days being kind to ourselves is okay, I give myself 5 minutes to adjust. I don't think we all have to rip off the band-aid and try to just push ourselves to hurry up and get it figured out. It is an evolution to quit being a strong black woman. That's why I made a whole channel about it, because every day I learn of another way that I need to quit being strong and allow myself vulnerability, space, humanity, for someone to come in and be a part of this with me to help me. So I hope that makes sense as well. Leslie says we actually have to set the boundaries and not allow them to do that. Yes, or ourselves to cross them. Exactly. Because this oh, great, great, great point, Leslie. Because it's not just about other people crossing our boundaries. A lot of times we set a boundary and then we let somebody over it. We ignore our own boundary that we've created, and how counterproductive is that? Because we're teaching other people to ignore the exact boundaries that we want them to honor. So that's so huge, is learning to really set in and stick to our boundaries specifically for ourselves. I love that. Thank you for saying that, Leslin. We don't talk about it enough, and it's hard to make that space. I agree with this. We don't talk about mourning enough. We don't talk about the struggles of creating boundaries and how to maintain them for ourselves enough. So that's why I made this channel, and I'm glad that you guys are vibing out with me, because this is exactly what the context is about. So then, if the first step is switching this mindset to redefine rest is non negotiable and changing our behavior behind that, then the second step is aligning our goals with our values. So, another topic that we do not talk enough about. As a kid, they ask us, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we might say a firefighter, an astronaut. I don't even know what kids say these days, because now they might say, I want to be a content creator. Like, who knows? But in that, one of the things that we don't really talk about, well, what are our values? And one of my favorite people who talk about values is Brene Brown. Let me try to pull her up really quick because I love the definition. How does Brene Brown define values? My favorite book where she talks about values is it's called Dare to Lead. And in my program, I teach you how to pick your values and how to live them out and how to hold yourself accountable to it. So I want to pull what she says. So Brene Brown defines values as principles or standards of behavior. So a value is a way of being or believing that we hold most important to us. Living into our values means we do more than profess our values, we practice them, we walk our talk, and we are clear about what we believe and hold important. And we take care of our intentions, words, thoughts, and behaviors align with those beliefs. And the way that we do that is by taking vision. So first, figure out what our values are. And I love this. Brene Brown says you only need two values. Sometimes you'll see in a business they got like 10 values. Can't nobody remember all those values, let alone how to live them out. Ain't nobody got time for that. We never fully live our values if we were trying to keep track of a list of 10 different values. Okay. So I love this, that Brene Brown says pick two values and then you talk about what it looks like to live them. So my two values are communication and adventure. I make all of my decisions around, am I communicating what I need? And is it creating adventure in my life? And believe me, it always keeps my life interesting. But I love those values. And when I do that, now that I've got my values, then I want to make sure I align them with my goals, with my vision of what I want my life to look like. So it really it comes down to this. Not every goal, not every good idea, not every opportunity is worth sacrificing our peace. Not every good idea, not every opportunity is worth us going for. Sometimes the good opportunity that comes through your path is not for you. It's for your friend. And I think when we are good at seeing our values, we have a better idea of saying, "Oh, that ain't actually for me, and that's okay. Let me bless somebody else with that?" So instead, it helps us prioritize our goals. It helps us prioritize how we choose the things that we go after, and it simplifies it so that we can align our life with our values and the things that we actually want. Otherwise, we just keep doing things, hoping that it finally gets us what we want, but we're not clear. Where it's obvious that it's not, because that 1 degree off will take us in a very different direction than the one that we actually want to go. Leslin, you said a YouTuber. OMG, I love her. I love Daring Greatly and Braving the Wilderness. Yes, listen, every book that Brene Brown has made, I love. I love so much. I'm glad I'm not the only one who geeks out on her. Yes, Leslin. Yes, yes. I love it. Okay, so step one is to redefine rest as non-negotiable. Step two was to align your goals with your values. Step three. So step three is to build financial freedom into your lifestyle. Now, I would say most people, when I say, "Oh, you need a budget," they get really clammy and they start like getting tense because in their mind having a budget means that you have to give up some of the things that you want in your life. Like you a lot of us think that, and it's a total misconception, that when you have a budget that you can't take yourself shopping, or when you have a budget that you can't you can't go buy a new car, or yeah, like we have this really warped understanding of what a budget is supposed to do. Instead of a budget being this mindset where we are in the scarcity mindset and forcing ourselves to buckle down and get the next thing done, a budget is actually the empowerment that allows our dreams, our goals, our values, our lifestyle to thrive. Because the budget is the plan. The plan is like, oh, if I know that I want a soft life and I know that X, Y, Z things are the things that I need to live this soft life, to financially support that soft life, I could just put money aside for that category. That doesn't mean that you don't have to take the category off the page. It just means that you have to give the category space and put money towards it. And so I want to really clear that mindset that having financial freedom, we know we want financial freedom, but a lot of us haven't realized that a budget is the number one way to actually help us get it. And having a budget and financial freedom don't they're not this fighting tension against each other. They're actually like the soil and the water with this, that the seed is the dream that allows that dream to grow and flourish and really become everything that it's meant to be, and even more beautiful than that. So with that in mind, a budget, when you align it to your soft life and to the goals that you have planned for yourself, it makes it easier. It makes it easier to finally get the joy, to finally reduce stress, to have the control that you need to both accomplish the things that you need to have, but also make space for the things that you want. And so it's a good thing. So once I recognized these three things, these are the three things that made everything change when it came to that fight against rest and hustle. Okay, I think I saw a great comment. Echoes Whisper said, yes to many, budget equals restriction. I wish I could help, especially more Black women, to understand that it's actually the opposite. See, this is what I'm talking about. Because when you understand it, it literally frees you. As so many people are doing hashtag financial freedom. Listen, we need to change that hashtag financial freedom to hashtag budget, because the budget is the financial freedom, sis. That's what it is. That is what we need to finally get to that freedom that we've been looking for. So, again, like I said, these are the three things that we need to really win in that battle against rest versus hustle. You win rest when you make it not non-negotiable. Hustle wins when you tell it that, oh, I could just rest later. Bull, bull. We're not letting that win anymore. Rest wins when we know what our values are, we prioritize them, and we make decisions based on our values. Hustle wins when we keep saying, oh, that sounds like a good opportunity. I don't really know if it's going to help me accomplish what I want, but I can't, it's a good opportunity. I can't miss it. Bull. Not every good opportunity is your opportunity. Pass that on. It's distracting you from what you're actually supposed to have. And then rest wins when we have a budget because it empowers everything that we've been dreaming about. And hustle wins if we don't make space, if we just allow our money to run rampant, hoping that things will finally fall into place. So, all three of these things, all three of these things, if I didn't make this switch, the burnout that I was feeling towards my dreams would have continued to happen. I would have continued to be in this place of treading water. Has anybody like felt like that? Like, I know that I was working so damn hard. I was working hard. Yes, I might have went on vacation here or there. I would explain it as I worked hard and I had spurts of joy. I had spurts, occasions where I finally felt free. It wasn't until I got these things right that I went from having spurts of freedom to living a lifestyle of freedom. And that doesn't mean that I completely stopped working because I actually like the work that I do. I love connecting with you guys. I love being a coach. I love this shift that I help to take my clients through. But now my freedom and my rest is my priority. It's the forefront of everything I do. And my work is a supplement. My work is an empowerment to that. You know what I'm saying? Am I the only one? Like this is the shift that I have seen be huge. Now, I saw a comment that come through, so I'm gonna pause for a second because I'll get on the rant. Leslie said hashtag budget. Right. Right. We need to see that hashtag freedom change to hashtag budget. Cause otherwise we missing it. We missing it. Okay. And then Leslin said, you actually cannot rest later. Sleep debt is a real thing. And over time, you just break down because you can't catch up over the weekend. Listen, listen. That's a good one. Sleep debt. Listen, that's a whole conversation right there. Sleep debt is real. You're never going to get that time back. You can never catch up. And then you wonder why that next week it still feels like your cup is not full because you never gave it enough space. You never put enough in for it to ever get to full. You might have put enough in that it covered the bottom, that it wasn't drip, that it wasn't stone cold dry, but it was never enough to fill up your cup. And we got to get back to this place where we make space to not just fill up our cup, but let it overflow so that the things that we're doing are out of the overflow, not not based on trying to finally catch up, okay? Playing catch up is playing catch up is a losing battle that we can never win, okay? So now that we've talked about this shift to create better rest and goals, you might be wanting help to do these steps. And this is why I am going to be doing the Design Your Rest Era masterclasses. The classes are starting this Saturday. The first class is more than a vision board, and that's all about we take time, not everybody, but those of us who do vision boards, we've been putting pretty pictures on a poster board, thinking that's enough because someone told us that if we look at those pictures every day, that would tell the universe to bring everything to us. And while that is part of it, you need a couple other pieces that are actually going to help you manifest that. And so in the More Than a Vision Board Party, I'm not just going to tell you what those other steps are. We are going to do every single step to creating that vision board that truly works. In this session on Saturday, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. So that's the first step, the first class. And then the second class is next week, and that is the budgeting and self care. Now, remember, budgeting is one of those things that when we truly get a hold on it, it's not a scarcity thing, it's actually an empowerment thing. And if we make it a form of self-care, it's one of those things that we never have to feel out of sorts. It really does actually allow your nervous system to rest, because you know where your money is being spent on, you know that your bills are paid, you know that your savings are growing, you know, and you can see and project just exactly how well you'll be able to live your soft life as you continue going. So, in this second class, I'm going to teach you how to create a budget. I'm going to teach you how to maintain it. And if you all are signing up for the Design Your Rest Era bundle this week, you're also going to get 3 months of the community where we're going to every month work on these two things, like re-up. You'll revisit your vision and revisit your budget together every month so that you can maintain this and actually make it a practice that helps you create the life that you want. So I saw um, only fry. I love that. Echoes Whispered said, only fries should play catch up, right? Because we ain't got time to be catching up. Okay. Catch up will never actually get caught up. So yes, I love that. Thank you for saying that. So then, as I was saying about the Design Your Rest Era bundle, it is the script, well, let me tell you. Now here's what happens when I'm new to a thing and I don't know if I did this right, but the link should be down in the chat. If not, I'm getting ready to post it for you as soon as I figure out where I'm supposed to do that. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So this is the link to go ahead and get your spot in the Design Your Rest Era bundle. It's 2 master classes, one great price. The bundle, you could buy each master class separately, but I'm telling you, you need all of these pieces. That's why I wanted to show you how this all fits together. And this is what's going to empower your 2025 to not just know what you want, but to have the budget and the finances to build it and live it. So I hope that you'll take a second and get your spot. Class starts this Saturday, so enrollment is going to be ending at the end of this week. If you have already got your spot, then share it with another Black woman who is on this journey to create her rest era as well. You ladies, if you got any questions, any other thoughts, let me know. But otherwise, I really thank you. Thank you for getting on here and doing this live stream with me today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Listen, the more that we keep talking about this and making space for us as Black women to heal from being a strong Black woman, to mourn the things that have held us back and to let them go, to really talk about it with each other and help us create this practice to move forward. This is what I believe makes life better, not just for us, but for the world. When Black women show up, when Black women live their best life, it changes the world, not just for us, but for everybody. And I'm passionate about making that happen. So, yes, I hope that if you're new here, like Echoes Whisper, please take a second to subscribe. If this is your vibe, make sure you like this video so I know to make more videos. And I hope that YouTube will share this with other Black women as well. So thank you so much. Okay. Yvonne says, can you review the steps before you go? Sure. Which steps are you talking about, Yvonne? The 3 steps that we went through today? Let me know, and I will definitely go through it. Leslie said, girl, I woke up thinking about you. I was excited to see this pop up. LOL. I might need a life. You got a full life, Leslie. Don't you worry. I'm so glad that it was right on time. I love that. Okay, yes, you wanted me to go back through the 3 steps for sure. Subscribe. Thanks for this. Thank you. See you again. Yay. So glad to see that. I'm excited to see you in the next one. Oh, if you can, join us on Friday too. That's always a good time as well for Freedom Fridays at noon. All right. Awesome. Okay. So Yvonne, the 3 steps that I went through. The first step, let me get my slides back so I can make sure I get them to you right. So step number one was to redefine rest as non-negotiable because rest isn't a luxury. It's a fuel. It is literally a fuel that allows us to show up as our fullest self no matter where we go, what we do, and rest is not about resting just so that we can work. It is because it is what allows us to be our fullest, most authentic, most beautiful, fulfilled self. And that's what I want to see us live. So, scheduling rest is so important because otherwise we default to working more. So that's why I do Freedom Fridays. It's all about helping us schedule rest and do this first step. Um, like it's a whole calendar meeting, pretty much. Okay. So the next step two that I gave was to align your goals with your values because without our values, we'll keep making the decision to do more because we're valuing that. When we live our life, like work is the number one priority, that's all we're valuing. So how do we change that? Well, we change the values. And so the value has to change. So my value now is that is non-negotiable. It went from being that I have to prioritize getting things done to actually my two values for my actual life are communication and adventure. And work is not in there. And nor does work need to be the core of that. Work empowers those things, but it's not the core of that. So when I know what my values are, and then I can align my vision, what do I want my life to look like? What do I actually want from life? Um, that's when I actually make space for me to live the life that I want and to start prioritizing it and building that. And I use my values as the compass to help me direct my decisions towards the life that I want to live rather than using work as my value because work will just keep pointing out more work and doing more stuff when we ain't got time for that. Not every goal is worth sacrificing your peace for. So, not all goals are good goals, not all opportunities are good opportunities. Focus and allow your values to help you be directed at the goals and the values that are the things that are going to help you live the life that you want to live, the things that you actually want. And then step number three was to build your financial freedom into your lifestyle because a budget is freedom, but we've not been taught that. We've been taught a budget is scarcity because if we keep frivolously spending our money, we'll never actually financially build the wealth that they don't want us to have. So when we switch, and then I made this joke, we need to switch hashtag financial freedom for hashtag budget because budget is the main tool that empowers our financial freedom. And so, a budget is when it's aligned with our soft life goals. This is what makes our soft life actually possible because we're empowering it, not just with the idea of what we want it to be. Now we're empowering it with our finances and our resources. And it makes it easier. It makes us so much easier to prioritize joy and reduce stress because we've been able to set up our finances to be able to do that. So those were the three. I hope that that helps answer all your questions, Yvonne. And then, ladies, go ahead and make sure you share this with somebody else. All right, you guys. Well, I will see you tomorrow on Instagram for a different live stream. Oh, that's not true. I'm also going to see you tomorrow on Yvonne's channel, and we're going to talk about some other stuff over there. So make sure you check out Yvonne's channel here as well. Leslin said, Rashidat, I was listening to your depression video. Please promote it. I will. I think I promoted it when I first put it out, and I need to go back and promote it again. Girl, I'm looking for a video editor to help me out because I can't keep up. But I will definitely do that. I'm glad to know that that video was helpful and it's something that I need to share more often. It's definitely been a powerful journey for me as I grow and continuing to quit being a strong Black woman as well. So thank you for saying that, Leslyn. All right, ladies. Okay, good. I'm gonna try and shut this down, but like I said, this is the first time I'm using this, so we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next live stream on Friday. Hopefully, I'll have this figured out by then. Okay. Did it end? I have no idea. All right, let's do that. End.